We'll start with Vilma's questions. Question number 1. Is it possible that some transnational crimes, like smuggling, exist because of unfair global systems rather than just bad people?
Yeah, I think I would say probably that's an interesting one because again, that goes back to, the subject of, like a corruption as well and stuff because you got obviously you got the drug cartels, you got the these organized criminal stuff, but obviously then you have to look at who's actually really pulling the strings to operate these crimes because obviously it's not just for example it's not just the drug cartels that are doing it on their own. They needed what's called other international what's called organizations or even help from what's called global what's called like the governments to help them give them what they were to, and as you mentioned smuggling, so like weapons smuggling or trafficking and stuff. Obviously, to get those weapons, they obviously got the weapons from other countries, so they could then smuggle those weapons out of their country and obviously get them to make the money out of it.
I still don't feel like it addresses the question. I mean, the assumption is that all criminals are bad, right? And I guess what this question is trying to stress is, could it not just be because of people feel maybe trapped under systems that are not fair? Could it not be that?
Like even like for example, like the justice system I talk about, or
Could be, maybe, yeah. I mean, for example, um, historically, I know there's been crime in certain countries where it came about as a result of like prohibition is a good example. Um, Al Capone did like a lot of bad things, but he also did a lot of good things that people don't always talk about. Like he, for example, invented soup kitchens, I believe. Big thing that he tried to do because the government just wasn't doing anything. Obviously, like people begrudgingly accepted that because it's from a criminal. It's like, oh, but there was a lot of good things he did as well, and that came about because of the system not taking care of its people.
yeah. Yeah, I think that's a very interesting subject because when it comes to, for example, I said the system and like for example whether that's the justice system and stuff. Obviously, what the question is, what role do they play in this? Whether they contribute to this or whether they what how, they really care about the people for example of that country or that state where these crimes are taking place. Yeah, it's one of the and it's one of the things is like again of whether they're contributing to this as well because of for example some of these people get unfair sentences when they get caught.
Question number 2: when countries work together to fight crime, who decides what justice of their laws and ideas or values are different? Did I get that right? Of their laws and values are different. Maybe like whose justice system is taken into account? Maybe whose is prioritized. If they clash on some level.
I think like with that one is again it's a heavy subject. So in terms like as you mentioned like the justice system and stuff, who actually is in charge of stuff because obviously each country has their own set of laws and values and stuff. So for example, not every country, for example, will agree with one another. And I think again a perfect example again I could I'll bring it use this case study as example would be that so when they were looking for Osama when they were looking for Osama bin Laden and the Al Qaeda group.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah. Okay. So after the aftermath of 9/11, so after 9/11, when they were finding the people responsible, which was the Al Qaeda group and the leader of the group, as said they went to obviously Afghanistan first to find Osama bin Laden, but then after with the main place they went to was I believe it was Pakistan and stuff. But before rather than go, they had to what's called go go to these other find these other individuals use whatever method they could. And when that the reason that when that clashes was that it caused actually debate was because the CIA, I believe, who's the Americans who went there to do this operation, I said they went to extreme measures to use torture as a way of extracting information and stuff. And obviously from their perspective, they get information, they're finding out what, who's responsible. But then if you look at from that country's point of view, in this case, Pakistan's the country, and so they can say, oh no, these people, what they've done is they did it's against human rights. They've violated basic human rights by using these extreme methods. So it's like that's where the clash comes in the system.